What if I told you that the most terrifying moment for a manipulator isn't when an empath fights back, but when they go completely silent? Stay with me, because what happens next will completely redefine everything you thought you knew about emotional power. Carl Jung said that the psyche operates like a pendulum. Push it too far in one direction, and it swings back with equal force. And nowhere is this more evident than in the misunderstood moment when an empath finally detaches. You see, most people think detachment means giving up. But Jung's research revealed something far more profound and, frankly, unstoppable. Here's what happens in that exact moment when an empath stops trying. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll understand why this single shift changes everything. According to Carl Jung, there's a critical threshold in human psychology he called the breaking point of the persona. It's the moment when someone can no longer maintain the mask they've been wearing for others. But here's the twist that will blow your mind. For the empath, this isn't a breakdown, it's what Jung termed a breakthrough into authenticity. The empath has been holding space, absorbing pain, making excuses, seeing potential where others see only manipulation. But then something shifts, not gradually, suddenly. Jung discovered that transformation doesn't happen in degrees, it happens in quantum leaps. One day the empath wakes up and realizes they're done, not angry, not hurt, just done. And that's when the real power emerges. Listen carefully to what happens next, because this is where everything changes. According to Carl Jung's theory of psychological energy, empaths operate with what he called an overabundance of libido, not sexual energy, but life force. They've been pouring this energy into others, into relationships, into people who treat them like emotional landfills. But when an empath detaches, that energy doesn't disappear. It redirects. Jung called this the conservation of psychological energy, and it's absolutely devastating to witness. All that care, all that attention, all that emotional labor they were giving away, it comes flooding back to them, and they use it to build something the manipulator never saw coming, an impenetrable fortress of self-worth. Here's what Jung understood that most people miss. Detachment isn't cold, it's clarity. The empath doesn't stop feeling, they stop explaining, they don't become heartless, they become selective. They don't lose their empathy, they reclaim their energy. And this is where the narcissist realizes they've lost something they can never get back. Carl Jung discovered that the most powerful psychological position is what he called conscious indifference. Not the indifference born from never caring, but the indifference earned through caring too much for too long. The empath who is finally detached embodies this perfectly. They stop responding to the bait. They stop defending themselves. They stop trying to make someone understand their worth. Why? Because they've reached what Jung termed self-validation, the ability to know your truth without external confirmation. And once an empath reaches this state, they become absolutely untouchable. But here's the part that will send chills down your spine. According to Carl Jung, there's a phenomenon he called the withdrawal of projection. For years, the empath has been projecting their own goodness onto others, believing everyone has the same depth, the same conscience, the same capacity for growth. But detachment shatters this illusion. They stop seeing potential and start seeing patterns. They stop hearing words and start watching actions. They stop giving chances and start trusting their instincts. Jung said that when someone withdraws their projections, they see reality with brutal accuracy. And reality for the manipulator is terrifying. The next phase is what Jung called the return of the self, and it's absolutely magnificent. Carl Jung understood that every person has a finite amount of emotional energy. The empath has been operating at a deficit, giving 90% and receiving maybe 10% in return. But when they detach, the equation reverses instantly. That 90% comes home, and they use it to rebuild themselves from the inside out. They stop chasing closure. They stop waiting for apologies. They stop hoping for change. They reach what Jung called psychological completion, the understanding that not everything needs resolution. Some chapters just end, some people just leave, some questions never get answered. And that's perfectly fine. Here's the moment when everything shifts permanently. According to Carl Jung's work on individuation, the highest form of maturity is when someone realizes they don't need to be understood by everyone. The detached empath embodies this completely. They stop performing their pain to prove it's real. They stop sharing their story with people who weren't there. They stop seeking validation from those who invalidated them. They simply move forward, quietly, powerfully, completely. And the silence, Jung discovered, is more powerful than any words they could have spoken. Carl Jung said that the integrated individual is not someone who has never been broken, but someone who has learned to put themselves back together without needing others to hold the pieces. The empath who is finally detached becomes this integrated being. They are dangerous not because they attack, but because they no longer engage. They are powerful not because they fight, but because they've stopped playing the game entirely. They are free not because someone released them, but because they released themselves. This is what happens when an empath finally detaches. They don't become cold, they become complete. They don't lose their heart. They find their backbone. They don't stop caring, they start choosing. And that, according to Carl Jung's lifetime of research, is the most unstoppable transformation you'll ever witness.